can we test this in a way?
With God, there's no testing.
No testing.
I mean, in testing, you wanna test if there's logic, if it makes sense, if it doesn't. But really, when it comes to God, there's no logic that can understand how God works.
My name is Ben.
Hi Ben. You can call me TCoCo.
TCoCo.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you spell that?
TCoCo.
TCoCo.
It's a combination of my first name and my second name.
Okay, what is your first name and second name?
My first name is Taremeketswa.
Taremeketswa.
I always keep it short. I've actually just, when I introduce myself to people, I just tell them I'm Tare, the short version.
Okay.
Yeah, Tare is my first name. The second one is actually Cordelia.
Cordelia.
Yeah.
So, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I like it. TCoCo, that's very cool.
Thank you. Got it from since I was in high school.
Oh, nice. Did you come up with it, or was your friends?
My friends, because they're like, no, your first name is very long and your second name is almost nice, but then let's make a combination to make it more nicer. You know how it is in high school.
Yeah, that's awesome. I recently changed my name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my last name is Kotze.
Okay.
But I don't like it. And my wife's last name is Diesel.
Okay, yeah.
So now I decided, cool, I'm going to take her last name. So now I'm Ben Diesel, and it's awesome.
I can imagine. It does have a nice ring to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So TCoCo, what belief would you like to discuss?
I think Christianity, or
okay.
let me not necessarily say Christianity, but the importance of maybe why God is there, importance of having a relationship with God. Because I don't know, I think people have many beliefs and people interpret it in different ways. But yeah, I'd like to share why I believe. I don't know.
Okay.
Is that what I'm supposed to say?
What I'd like to get into is how the method that you use to come to that belief. Okay. So when we're talking about the importance of the relationship with God, I would say that the idea that God exists is probably core to that. So would you mind if we focus on that? Or
yeah.
Okay cool.
Yeah.
So the Christian God exists.
Yes.
Awesome. So what does Christianity kind of mean to you? Before we jump too deep into that, just to get an idea.
That sounds like a hard question. What does Christianity mean? What does Christianity mean? I don't know. Christianity, I'm probably just going to go off course, but how I view Christianity, it's a life with God. Life with God. I mean, we have this term that we use in our church that we're called to be Christ-like. So I think Christianity, Christ-like.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. So, if you had to rate yourself on a scale of a 0 to 100, that the Christian God is real and exists, where would you put yourself?
110.
110?
110.
Whoa! Okay, cool. That's very high. 110, does that mean that you cannot possibly be mistaken?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay,
I mean, when I look where I am now and when I was like younger in high school, I mean, I wouldn't have said the same thing. I'm like, yeah, God exists because I was told He exists. I grew up being told. But then as I grew older, as I got to discover more of myself, discover more of Him in my life, I got to really experience Him personally. Not necessarily because you're told, I'm going with what I'm told. But now actually, I've experienced it myself. So yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
So when you were younger, a big part of the belief was you were brought up in it. It's what was taught to you.
Yes.
And then you say you discovered God personally.
Personally. Yes.
Okay, interesting.
But I think in terms of religion, I mean, we're all born into it. I mean, our parents are like, no, let's go this route because this is the route that we were taught, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as much as if it's good, sometimes it's not so good for other people. But then I think what's more important is that when you get to a place where you experience that thing, like, are you there, or are you just there because you were told to be there? I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. What would be a good example, if you're willing to share, about one of these personal experiences that really got you to that 110%?
110%. I can think of many examples. I mean, or a current one, a recent one, is that I've been seeing God really work in my academics.
Okay.
Like never before. I think when I think back when I was in first year, I'm studying computer science. So I was in first year. I got to a point where whenever things were getting quite deep or quite hectic at school, and then I'm told like, we're having an incredible service or whatever at church, like come, and I'm like, I can't because I have to like focus on my school, So it's like whenever I got to realize much later that when first year and second year, I'd put like my academics above God. The Word of God talks about how we shouldn't be worshiping other things, how we shouldn't place other things above God, because that's not idolatry, So even though I didn't consciously knew that I was actually placing my academics above God, but then that's what was happening. And the more I tried focusing on it, the more it initially didn't work. I was putting all the hours, all the effort. It initially didn't work, but then I got to a point towards the end of my second year. And then I was at a point where I was like, God, I'm just gonna trust you with this. I'm gonna keep doing my part, because my mom would always tell me, Tare, do your part. God will do the rest.
Okay.
So when I tried applying it and not just knowing about it, and I gave it to him, I really started seeing him move incredibly.
Okay.
And also just when he speaks to my heart, I believe God speaks to different people in different ways.
Okay.
For me, by maybe just putting a song on my heart, maybe I wake up feeling thankful. I wake up singing a song about don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. And then not necessarily that I'll be going through a situation, but then when I encounter the situation, a difficult situation, then I remember, wait, this song has been on my heart. Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. It is well with my soul.
Okay.
And then that's just how I don't. Does that answer the question? I think I've forgotten what you'd asked me. I'm so sorry, Ben.
It's cool. I love it. So the method that, or the reasons that kind of get you to the high confidence is you see God working in your life. Example being your academics. You applied yourself. You had times when you were struggling, but later on when you added prayer to the mix, you were doing it was much easier, or you really saw your academics going in a better direction.
Because that even times when you're like, I don't deserve to get these marks. I don't deserve to get this because I didn't really put work.
Yeah.
And that's when sometimes grace comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grace. And then you also mentioned that God speaks to your heart. Out of the two, which is the one which is really
the most?
Yeah, the one which, if that maybe wasn't there, you would not be at 110.
God speaking to me.
God speaking to you. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Okay.
Can you go a bit deeper into how that works, how you experience it?
Okay, so what I've come to learn, when God speaks, He never actually speaks where most people think it's like the wind, then they're like, okay, that's God. But for me, it's when I'm reading His Word, then I'm like, no, this stands out. This maybe applies to me, and it's something that keeps ringing in my mind. Okay, do this or don't do that. I believe God speaks. God warns us when it's like, no, don't go there, don't do whatever. And when it's something maybe that we need to apply, something we need to work on, it will constantly be upon your heart, because God impresses things on people's consciousness. It's not that it's my conscious. I mean, we have conscious. We're soul, body, and mind. Okay, never mind about that.
Okay.
But personally, He impressed something on my heart, and when I apply it, when I do it, I see the results. I'm like, okay, what? It makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. I mean, He'll be like, go speak to this person, and you go speak to the person, and you don't get the reaction you think you'd get, but it doesn't make sense. But then what I just realized, just trust God when He speaks. So, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Interesting. So that's the impression on your heart. How would you describe that? So
let me think of a recent example. Yes. Okay. So at our church, we really believe in building relationship. Because you can't just we focus on building a relationship with people, right?
Okay.
So we're always encouraged to go out there, outreach, get to know people, invite them to church, get them to come and experience God the way we experience it. Cool. So then this other person that I met, like at the beginning of the year, and then I remember I briefly just introduced myself. I'm like, what are you doing this evening? We're having this cool, awesome service. Come through. She came through, awesome. But then as time went, as the semester progress to progress, I didn't really make the effort to build a relationship with her. Like,
Okay.
I just knew she was there, but then I never actually made the time to actually go there. So then the times I'd try, it really wouldn't go anywhere, because you'd see like, no, there's actually no relationship whatsoever, you know. So then I'll keep trying, but then I'm like, it's dead end. Let me look for other people. Let me try to build a relationship with other people. Cool. And then there's this other day, I mean, there'll be times when I'll try, let me initiate, like, let me ask her, let's go out for coffee to get to know each other better, and then I'll be like, no, sorry, people shutting you down. And then at a certain point, it gets to a point like, why am I even trying? Like, no, like, the other people, they're more fish in the sea to thingy, right?
Yeah.
So then there's this other time, then we just come back from this conference, it was really awesome, just really encouraging us to really go out there and not fear, because sometimes fear gets in the way. You're like, no, but I tried with Ben, but then Ben just shut me down, for example.
Classic Ben.
And I remember something was just like in my heart, like, no, just reach out to this girl. No, just ask her to go get breakfast. It's on you. Just reach out to this girl. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, but then all the other times,
Yeah.
it never went anywhere. I mean, that's just a waste of time. I mean, I could use that airtime I'm going to use to call her, to call somebody else, and someone would actually be able to respond. But like, it was just ringing in my heart, like, no, just like she was just on my mind.
Okay.
And then I decided, let me give her a call. Let me just see where this goes. I'm like, okay, cool. What you doing Sunday afternoon? Like Sunday morning, do you want to go out for breakfast? On me. Before I was like, on me. She was like, cool. And then later on, she agreed, and I was actually so surprised. I'm like, oh wow. That actually was easy. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like just that, you know. And then after a while, she's like, oh, by the way, I don't have any money, so maybe we should do it another time. I'm like, no, don't worry, I'll cover you both. So yeah, let's go out. And then we went out for breakfast that coming Sunday, and it was actually good. You know, we actually got to build a relationship, get to know each other. Okay, so where do you come from? What kind of family you come from? Those type of things. You know, what do you do for fun? All that stuff. All that type of things. The type of thing.
But the thing that kind of got you to reaching out to her again was this, just almost randomly, the idea, wow, there was this girl, I should contact her and hear if she'd be willing to go out again.
I wouldn't call it random. I wouldn't call it random. I would call it that God was just saying, Lord, there's something, like, go. Enough. You know, because so many times when God tells us to do certain things, I believe, speaking for myself, from my experience, there's so many reasons or excuses we give, like, God, not now, maybe later, and stuff like that. But then what I've later discovered, learned, is that, you know what, when God says something, it's not just a coincidence. It's not just a random thing. It's for a reason. For a reason, you know. So that's also where the faith element comes in. You know, are you going to trust that whatever you're hearing, is it from God? And how you get to know, is it from God? How you get to know if it's actually from God is by you actually doing it.
Okay, cool. So for it to be not random, is when you actually go through with it, you'll see there's some result.
You see the fruit.
Okay, you see the fruit. Interesting. So when you've got an idea, and before you maybe commit to it, right? How would you tell the difference between it being God, or is it maybe internally from you? Is there a way that you could tell the difference?
I mean, in that situation, I mean, even though my goal with that person was to build a better relationship and also be able to help her in her walk with Christ, you know, I mean, it didn't really go that way. But then I remember when we were talking, she was actually telling me about some of the things that she's going through. You know, some of the struggles she'd been encountering since she got to university. She's the first year. And I was able to relate. I was able to also like speak when I was in first year, how I found it and how I was able to, you know. So it was like a plus. I was able to help her in a certain way, but maybe my goal of actually helping her in her walk with Christ, maybe that was my.
But before we, if we've got this idea, before we actually go through with it, right? Is there a way that we can determine whether it's something from God?
Or something for me. Okay. Not necessarily before. Okay, I've never actually seen it before, but always after. After. Because like I said, like we talked about earlier, there's always fruit. You see the results of your actions. But when it doesn't actually manifest into, not necessarily exactly what you'd want, but something great or like progress. Then I'm able to like, no, I was doing this out of myself. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Can we test this in a way?
With God, there's no testing.
No testing.
I mean, you know, in testing, you wanna test if there's logic, if it makes sense, if it doesn't. You know? But really, when it comes to God, there's no logic that can understand how God works. So, I mean, I don't think it's testable. It's just it's a faith element, if that makes sense.
There's no logic and there's a faith element. Okay. What does faith kind of mean to you?
Faith. How I picture faith. I'm a swimmer. I've been swimming since primary.
Okay. Wow, that's cool.
Thank you.
Are you part of a team here?
Unfortunately, no. My degree doesn't allow me.
Oh, shame, man.
It's quite hectic, but I love swimming.
Okay.
And so each time I picture faith, how I understand faith is like when I'm standing in front of a pool, right? So faith is like, take that step of faith. You don't know where you're gonna end up. Are you gonna fall straight to the ground of the pool, or is someone gonna catch you and go with you? So I always picture me falling into the pool of water, and you know what happens when you fall into water? You're gonna go down, but then after a while, the water pulls you up, and then you start floating. So that's how I picture faith. It's basically taking a step of faith, saying, God, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm choosing to trust you. I'm choosing to believe that you will catch me, you will go with me. So sometimes when you take a step of faith, it seems like we're going straight to the ground, because that's what the devil wants us to think. Like, you see, you took a step of faith, but where are you now? You're straight to the ground. But then if you continue having faith, you'll begin to see God actually lifting you up, God actually walking with you through whatever situation. Yeah. So I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers the question.
So let me repeat it back to you and see if it makes sense.
Okay.
So what I got from that is faith is having trust in the face of uncertainty. That you'll have a good outcome. God will make sure that you have a good outcome. Interesting. It was very interesting to me, and sorry, we've talked for quite a while, so if you need to run, TCoCo, just tell me, Ben. Okay. Awesome, dude, I'm on my way.
Okay.
But I'm really enjoying our conversation, so if you're willing to stick around, I've still got a couple more questions.
Cool.
You said that we cannot test God. What makes you say that?
The word.
Okay.
The word. Right now a verse came to mind where it says God cannot be mocked. I don't know if that makes sense. If it correlates. But God cannot be mocked. You reap what you sow. Okay, I think that's very different from what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No, really, when I think about it, I'm like, nah. No, but really the Bible does say you can't test God, because who are we to say, show yourself, show up, are you really there? Who are we? We're mere humans. Dust. So
does that, if you had a friend and he met a girl online and she lives in Brazil and they're chatting it up and he's just loving it, he thinks she's awesome, he tells you, TCoCo, man, she is beautiful, she's smart, she's interested in what I have to say, it's just amazing. And one day this friend comes to you and he says, I'm going to take the big step. I'm going to stop my studies. I'm going to sell everything that I have, buy a ticket, head to Brazil to go and meet this girl. She said I should come there and
start a family or start a life together.
Yeah. And what would you advise? Would you be, first off, would you kind of be worried about him in any way?
Yes, I feel like that's irrational. Aside from the God element or whatever,
Yeah.
Like thinking in humanity, that's irrational.
What would you say to him? What advice would you give to him before he takes that step?
Pray about it.
Pray about it.
Okay. Because pray about it really, because it's really, in terms of like things like that, relationships and stuff like that. I mean, so many cases you hear people who were once in love and then they got married and then all of a sudden they split apart.
Yeah.
Yet they had a great thing going on. Like it was just like these guys were meant to be, but maybe somewhere along the line things just they missed each other. And then
you might have cases where somebody might be online and they might not even be who they're pretending to be.
Exactly.
So if you wanted to find out if this girl is who she says she is there something that he could do?
Literally, I'd tell him, pray about it.
Okay.
I mean, also...
So you shouldn't maybe try and say to her, listen, get today's newspaper and send me proof of life or something like that.
Proof of life. I mean, I've heard it works for some people. But everyone's different, we all have different places in our life. I mean, God works differently in each of our lives. But in that situation, you have to be wise. Where you can't then stop school, sell everything just to get there. You find out it's a fraud. This person probably does organize something to rob you or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rational thinking. And also then goes down to how do you make decisions as a human being?
So rational thinking.
Yeah.
What would that look like for him? If he had to go through this process of saying, wow, I've got this huge decision I need to make. How would I do it?
don't think I understand your question.
So how would he, if we looked inside his brain, what's happening, trying to make this decision, what do you think would be good things that he would be weighing up before he goes and he makes the decision?
I don't know. What's coming to my mind, it might be infatuation.
Okay.
Yeah, infatuation. And thinking that maybe this is it. Maybe sometimes maybe that it is it. Sometimes. But on a rational, I don't know, on a rational way of thinking, on a rational way of seeing things. I feel like one would need to really think about it, consult. I believe so much in getting perspective from things. You know, when you want to try something, when you want to do something, and you're not sure. When you're not sure, already, I know my boyfriend always says that when you're not sure, that already is a sign. Don't necessarily go for it. Take your time, think about it, and then get perspective. You know, when you get other people's views, then you're able to see, okay, fine, maybe this is a good choice. Should I completely drop out? Should I completely sell things? Yeah, get perspective.
So I'm an engineer.
Okay.
And I'm one of those, methodical logic guys. So what I would have done, and maybe it's terrible, maybe this would already have answered the question because you would like, no, screw you, dude, don't come anymore. I would have said, wow, okay, but can you just maybe let's jump on a Skype call. Okay. We might never have seen each other. That would give me a lot of confidence that this is not maybe some hairy dude sitting in his mom's basement trying to get me to Brazil. I would say, can you maybe introduce me to some of your family? So I've got somebody else who's confirming, wow, yeah, this girl you're talking to, she is in Brazil.
Real, legit, yeah.
If I asked her to do the Skype call and she told me, why do you want to do that? Don't you love me? Why would I be justified in just saying, okay, no, I shouldn't do this. I'm just going to go.
Well, that's actually a good way to determine, is this thing legit or not,
Okay.
I mean, because if you're legit, what do you have to hide? What's wrong with us seeing each other? I just wanna, I mean, we know what happens online. We know people who get what's the word? When people impersonate other people just to either rob them or whatsoever.
Yeah.
We know what happens. So in that situation, that person shouldn't have to feel like, no, why? Like, we must understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't see it as a negative thing per se. Maybe it might be like
it actually isn't, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was in that situation, I'm like, and then everyone's like, no, gotta go for it, don't go for it, then I'd also think that, let me just
yeah.
Let's see.
And it doesn't necessarily reduce the feeling that I have for her or reduce how serious I am about it. Actually, you can maybe almost argue that it means I'm more serious about it because I'm really thinking about it.
Exactly. Makes sense.
Okay. So if we use that as an example where testing, as in trying to find out, is this the case, is a good thing. What makes the belief in God different so that you would not want to test it?
I think it's a good question, but it all, like I said earlier, it all goes down to prayer. When you pray and then you're like, God, is this something I should do? You've exercised that and you've actually seen this person is legit. You've actually seen, okay, this person exists. And then it's always important that you also pray, add a prayer to it, just to get more something, more confirmation, more like, is this the right choice? Because like I said, worst case scenario, you go there, everything is great, you guys hit it off and you guys start a life together, but somewhere along the lines you guys just like miss each other, and then you're like, but I left Africa, I left my family, and then why maybe you might try to work it out, but then it's always important because in terms of things like that, like lifelong relationships, you want to make the best choice, or you want to make such a huge sacrifice of leaving school, selling everything for the right person and for the right reasons. You don't want something that will just last for a certain while and then just disintegrate. Okay. So that's why I would say pray about it as well.
Okay.
And then ask God to give you a sign. And because I was saying, it has worked for other people. I heard of the story from my sister. She's like, there's this woman who got married and then her husband died. And then she's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to die widow? Am I going to die married? Family, something like that. And then she met another guy. And then they got engaged, but then when it was time for the wedding, she was not getting cold feet. She's like, oh my gosh, what about my husband who died? Like, what's going to happen. And then apparently she prayed to God. She's like, God, can you give me a sign? Can you give me a rainbow or something that I can know, like, you are happy with this, I can proceed. And apparently on the day of the wedding, she actually got to see 2 rainbows.
Oh, wow.
2 rainbows. It wasn't raining, it wasn't whatever, just out of the blue. And then from there, like in her, I guess, like we said earlier, like it's different for everyone. People hear God in different ways depending on where they are in their lives. So for her, she took it as a sign that God actually approves. So she was at peace. She went ahead with it.
Interesting.
So I don't know. It works for some people. I've asked God for some sign, and I've never seen any of them.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Does the fact that you ask God for signs and you haven't seen anything, does that have any impact on your belief?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because as people, even in life with our parents, we don't always get what we want. Sometimes for a good reason. Think about like when we were younger and you had to be disciplined. Or I remember so many times I was in grade 9, and I'm like, Mom, can I go out? Like people having fun, and she's always like, no. And at the time I was like, why? You're the worst parent ever. Like you never allowed me to have fun. Like why? I hate you. That type of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But then much later, as I grew up, and then I'm like, you know what? Those times she said no, they actually helped me to become the person I am today, even though it sucked at the time. But then it was actually for the greater good, for the future. So in those situations, where sometimes when God says no, he doesn't give me a sign, I won't take it as like, oh my gosh, you're a hard God. Like, what kind of a God are you? Don't you want to see me happy?
Yeah.
It's not. You know, it's. I take it as if, you know, God knows the bigger picture. So him saying no maybe was the best thing, because what if I got it? I got what I wanted, and then it just drives me away from God.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. So yeah, when God says no, I have to take it, say God knows the big picture. I'll trust you, even though I don't see why I shouldn't do this, but I'll trust you.
Okay. Wow. I've taken so much of your time, and that was so cool. I loved it.
Thank you for asking me to have this conversation.
Awesome. Are you glad you stopped?
I
That's
would like
worrying.
to keep going, but then it was actually something, and I've never done something like this, you know. So
Okay.
it's a nice opportunity, something new, something different. So yeah.
Would you like to keep going? We can keep going if you'd like to.
I wish I could.
Are you?
So I'm in an interview. Oh, not an interview.
Oh, no worries, guys. We're pretty much done.
Well, I'd love to keep going, but I have like an interview like at 12.
Oh,
but it's still like past 10, so it's still fine. But I wanted to ask, what's your YouTube channel, so that I'm able to actually be able to to check
There's
that
a little
out.
code you can scan, or there's the URL, so you can have a look there. Yeah. My email address is on the front. If you'd ever like to chat again, I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What do you think about it?
This is actually nice. Like I said, I don't really do things like this. I've never done anything like this, and I like it. I'm a people person. I like talking to people. You know, I like getting to know people.
I noticed.
How they, how people think, how people view things, how people view life. So yeah, this was actually, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. The technique I use is called street epistemology. Street epistemology.
Okay.
Epistemology is the study of knowledge, and what I love about it, and why I'm out actually doing these interviews, it allows you to talk to people who might be in maybe a completely different position than you are, and you can understand where they're coming from, which I think is always such a good thing,
Right.
even if you don't agree with what somebody else
exactly.
thinks. Yeah, but also you can help them think a bit deeper about their position. Did you kind of experience that? Did the conversation make you think about this a bit more?
Like that question that you asked about this person, you know, it got me thinking, because some people get spiritual about it, too spiritual about it. But then sometimes in that situation you have to use logic. So yeah, it got me thinking even deeper than I'd usually, if that makes sense.
That's very cool. I like to hear that. Yeah. So, yeah, if you liked it, maybe check it out. I think it's such a cool little tool to have in your toolbox for life.
Sure.
Where you might meet people who have, like I said, completely different
background,
exactly.
Different
And what I've found, especially nowadays, just in my office, the amounts of fights we get into, where people get so emotional about topics and they don't want to hear the other side, and it's just, you're throwing out your bunch of facts, I'm throwing out my bunch of facts. Nobody gets convinced, everybody gets pissed off, and there's no point really. So yeah, check it out. I think you'd appreciate it.
Definitely. So you've been doing this for quite a while, right?
6-7 weeks now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And like, do you post your feed like often or after episodes?
Once a week. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I've usually pick the best conversation of the week, and then I go with that. So yeah, I try to be here every Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
This
yeah.
is so awesome, but thank you so much, man.
Also,
I'll definitely check you guys out. I'll probably give you a shout out in the comments.
I'd love that. TCoCo, it was so nice meeting
Likewise,
you.
likewise. All the best, yeah?
You too.
Bye.
Cheers.